Greetings and good vibes. This is Erica with another Q and Q. And again, Q and Q means questions and queries. Have you done any 48-hour film festivals? How did the film turn out? I've done three, I want to say three. The they're interesting, I think is my answer. The first one I did, I was in DC. And can't even remember exactly how it happened, but they have been going on for years. I hadn't done one. I have been in DC and wanting to get a bit more into the indie film scene. And I don't remember where I was, but I came across a post of a group that was like, hey, we're going to do the 48 hour this year. We want more people to join. Oh, wait, no, it was some kind of a mixer. I went to some kind of a film mixer, and there was a bunch of people there, and I was just walking around, just kind of scouting the place out, seeing if there was a fun group of people that I'd met, be like, hey, I'm looking for a team. I'm happy to join. And that is the first time that I met Degon, or Daniel Gonzalez, for anybody who doesn't know who Degon is, and had no idea who he was. He said he had a group of people. They were doing a 48 hour. I think they had done one or two prior to that, but he had a great crew, and they were looking for a director, which is one of the strangest situations I've been in, because most of the time people just go, oh, I'm a film director, when they have no idea how to be a film director. So I was genuinely shocked to hear a team was looking for a director, and I have a lot of directing experience. And I said, oh yeah, I'm a director. I've done this, this, and this, and I just kind of listed some things up, and he went, great, you're our director. And I was like, absolutely completely floored, never expected that to happen at all. So I just was suddenly this team's director. Hadn't done a 48 hour before. Just met him at this mixer, but we had a great rapport pretty much immediately, and it seemed like a lot of fun. I had met the team, I think a couple of them, I had met them once, like maybe a week or so before we, sat down and had dinner or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but I met a few of the people. So I made sure I knew which positions we had covered, which positions we were still looking for. I knew who it was that was going to the theater to get, what is it? Is it a character name, a prop? And I'm forgetting, genre, I think is, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a few years since I've done one. I knew who it was that was doing that. I knew where we were filming. Well, we had, I think, three or four potential locations we could film at. So I made sure I was updated on all of that. And we just kind of waited until the night came. We got all of our information. I knew who it was that was writing the script. They were staying up. You get the information, I want to say, on a Friday evening, Friday night. And we knew that we were going to film, that they were going to stay up all night Friday night writing the script. First thing Saturday morning, we were going to film, and we were going to film the entire day. And then Saturday night, like late Saturday night, the people doing post-production were going to get all the footage, and they were going to stay up all night and then turn it in on Sunday. That's the plan that we were going to do. When I saw the script first thing Saturday morning, I had a couple of comments. I thought that there was just a couple of really subtle things that we can change to make the script a whole lot better. And they took the script, kind of redid it a little bit for an hour or so. I was like, this is great. We should jump into it. And we just literally jumped into it with this whole crew, this whole cast, all these people I did not know whatsoever. And it was absolutely a fantastic day. I made sure everybody had a say in what was going on. I made sure the performers were having a great time. I made sure the technical people weren't getting overworked. If somebody had an idea, I was like, yep, that sounds fantastic. Let's do it the way it's written, and then we'll do the thing that you just said. I made sure everybody had at least some kind of comments, like, oh, let's try this, let's try that. And I was constantly saying, does anybody have a great idea before we move on? I made sure everybody had a chance at least to say, let's try this, let's try that. And I made sure everything stayed on schedule, on time. Everybody had a great time. Couple of really fun things, especially once I was in the room, because I didn't even see the locations before it was chosen. Once you see the location, you look around like, oh, that's great. Let's film that angle. Let's film that angle. Let's put a second camera there. Let's make sure the microphones are doing this so we catch that. And anytime we were in a new location, we were filming in a really large apartment building. So there was this like gathering place that we sort of turned to make it look a little bit like a bar. We were in the fitness area, which we made look a bit like a gym. We filmed inside somebody's apartment. We filmed in a couple of the hallways. I don't think we filmed in the business center, but I think we film on the roof? I think we may have filmed on the roof of the building. So we had all these different locations inside this one building. And every time we'd go to a new location, I go, great, that's fantastic. We're going to film with that. Even if it doesn't fit the script, I'm going to make a slight adjustment in the script because that looks great. And I want to make sure we capture that on film. So it was just very much a thinking, thinking on my feet right off the top of my head, trying to make everything look as good as possible. And editors got it that night, had everything ready to go, submitted it the following day, and it ended up being shortlisted for best film at that festival, which completely floored me. I was not expecting that at all, and there was a massive, massive amount of films that were submitted because there's a lot of film from Discovery and a bunch of other places. There's a lot of film groups, a lot of film businesses, a lot of film stuff inside the DC area. So it was absolutely floored that we were able to get shortlisted. I don't think we won anything, but we were on the short list of best films, which was pretty fantastic. I did it one more year, the year after that. Didn't go quite as good the second time. I think we had less people and also a lot less experienced people. And then I did it once when I was in Atlanta, and it went okay. It was again a crew that didn't have quite as much of experience, and I was just there helping out. I forget if I was a PA or camera operator, or I'm sorry, PA or AC or something like that. I just kind of was like, hey, I'm happy to help. I don't need to do anything super important. Actually, I think I did a fourth one. I did a fourth one where I think I was just a stills photographer. I was only available for a few hours, so technically, I think I've done four. What's the key to a strong director-actor relationship? Well, saying communication is extremely cliche. I would say I don't think I would necessarily say that they have to agree at all times, but I would say they have to be willing to listen to what the other person says and be willing to try things and to have some fun and to really just figure out what's going to work, because how you assume, whether you're the director or the writer or the performer, how you assume something is going to happen isn't necessarily the way that it happens. So as long as you're willing to be flexible, have conversations, as I said just a few moments ago, I like to film things the way that they're written. So film it the way that it's written, and once we've nailed it, let's do something goofy now. Let's try something different. Let's do something different with the character. Let's have them, get up and walk around. Like, let's do some kind of a detour. It's not something that changes the whole course of the film, but let's really play around with it and see if there's some other little angle that we can find that's fun, that's exciting, that's depressing, like whatever it is that we're looking for. Let's try to find a slightly different angle from what we think is really going on. How do you ensure that the story remains engaging in a medium like an audiobook where visual storytelling is absent? Short answer is good actor. That's really it. And someone who's reading, performer, actor, in this case, it's the same thing. It's really down to that one person doing an amazing job. They could be speaking in one voice, or they could be speaking in 117 different characters. That part doesn't really matter, but they have to be engaging. They have to have, unlike me, I tend to get a little monotone if I talk too long. They have to have a lot of variation in their voice. They need to be able to really set up because every time you go, such and such said, like every time you have to say the character's name to let you know who is speaking, if you have to do that every single time, that means the performer isn't doing a good enough job. They should be able to start speaking as a character and you instantly know who it is that's speaking, because they're putting a strong character behind each of the different characters. None of the characters can sound like each other unless that's a deliberate choice. But generally, none of the characters should sound like each other. They should all have, be in a slightly different register in the performer's voice. They should have slightly different cadences. There needs to be a lot of variety. And that really comes down to the performer. Occasionally, you can have a performer that doesn't have a lot of experience. And if you have a really good director and or producer, depending on how many people are in the booth listening. You have a really good, whoever the supporting person is, they can certainly help with a performer that doesn't have a lot of experience. But to me, really hands down, it absolutely just comes down to you really need to have a good performer. How do you decide which projects to take on, especially when you work in so many different formats? If I think it's going to be fun is probably my number one, and then my number two. So this is an easy thing for me to answer. So number one is fun. Number two is it something that I've been wanting to try that I haven't done before? Number of years ago, I hadn't worked on anything comic book related, but I really wanted to. I had taken a number of classes, watched a lot of stuff on YouTube, and then I came across this post of this person who was wanted to start doing comic books specifically to help support the Black community. I'm mixed race. I'm a bit on the light side, but I'm mixed race, and that's something that I work a lot in that space. And I said, hey, I don't have a lot of experience, but I do a fair amount of graphic design, so I do understand the visual design of comic books a little bit. I learned a whole lot more in that next year after I joined the project. I was like, I understand it a little bit. I also have a lot of directing experience, a lot of theater experience, a lot of film experience, and a lot of that, and which also doing things like storyboards. So a lot of my experience and a lot of writing experience. All of that stuff crosses over into comics, but I don't have a lot of experience with myself. We had conversations a number of times and decided, yeah, this is a great thing. And then I just joined the project and ended up being one of the head writers for a considerable amount of time, helping setting up the project, getting it off the ground, bringing in a crew. So if it's something that I've never done before that I really want to do, that's probably the second way to get me to sit down and say yes to something, just because I think it's going to be fun. And another thing is when I'm totally in, and I love being totally in. So I'm an easy audience as far as that goes. That's the last question. Thank you so much. All the contact information is down below. If you have any questions you want me to go through, anything you want me to chat about, please drop it down below, and I look forward to answering any other questions that I have. Thank you for joining me today at Creator Shift.